Alrighty, good morning, guys. We have an awesome stream this morning. There's some pretty crazy stuff going on right now with Snapchat stock. If you guys have not been following this since last night, their earnings have been absolutely insane. So you can see their stock here is down 35% at market open. That is a huge drop to the downside, and it's just been getting worse and worse as we head into market open here. And they have so many issues right now at Snapchat, but obviously one of the biggest things is going to be ad revenue. And the thing that I hate is that this is actually spilling over into other companies. So now we also have Facebook down to $180 again. I mean, they are also now falling off the cliff, heading back down towards those yearly lows here. I mean, they had lows of like 169, and we're at 180 right now. I would not be surprised at all if we did go down a little bit and end up maybe retesting like 169 or 170 or somewhere really close to that with Facebook, especially with all of this happening. But yeah, Facebook is down, Pinterest is down, Twitter is down. So it really sent all the social media companies to the downside. But thank you guys so much for joining up. Jamie, Hunter, Keisha, Mike, I am Mike Doe, Sean, thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't yet. Hunter's gonna go off and get his watch size. That's awesome. I know he's getting a tag for his graduation here, so that's gonna be an awesome watch there. Definitely send some pics of that, Hunter. I'm like I said, I'm definitely jealous of that one. Those tags are awesome, and Tag actually sponsors my favorite Formula One team, the Red Bull team. So it's always awesome to see that too. But yeah, going back to Snapchat here, guys, it is getting pummeled. I'll bring up the article by CNBC here, and we can maybe go over a couple of different data points here that I thought was pretty important. So obviously the main thing when I'm looking at this is going to be their ad revenue, of course. So they did announce like a slowdown in ads and stuff like that, which is not good, which bled over into other companies. So here's pretty much the quote from their CEO. He said, "We believe it is now likely that we will report revenue and adjusted EBITDA, I can't ever say it right, below the low end of the guidance range we provided for this quarter." So in the end, they're also coming in with guidance less than expected, which is not good. You can see that they expected between 20 and 25% year over year growth in revenue, but it actually came in quite less than that. So they definitely missed these expectations, which was not good, guys. Obviously, anytime you miss expectations, it's bad. But to me, the main issue is that it bled into these other online advertising companies like Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, even Google, it says, was down. The TTD, Trade Desk, was down too. So kind of interesting. But overall, I mean, it's terrible to see these advertisers falling off like this, because those are some pretty big companies, guys. And, I was hoping to see, Snapchat maybe have some good numbers here. In my head, I was thinking, can Snapchat really go any lower, guys? And, it did. I mean, it just kept falling lower and lower. Like, look at the daily chart here. We were looking like Zoom, DraftKings, a lot of other stocks, and the way this one had been kind of falling off, and it just had this huge now gap back to the downside, and it's brutal, guys. But, the last time Snap reported earnings, it looks like they also had a gap down, and then they came right back up over the next couple days. Now, I'm definitely not saying that that's going to happen again, but just be a little wary. It could always pop back up. But I don't know. This was a pretty brutal report. I don't think that we could. I don't think we're going to be recovering anytime soon from this one. I mean, maybe, but I don't think it'll be tomorrow like it was the last time. Yeah, Keisha, you're definitely right. Facebook is getting destroyed as well. This is a pretty bad drop with Facebook. Like I said, down to like 180 here. I will say I like that they're holding up around 180. It looks pretty nice here. So overall, I mean, it's not too bad. One thing I will say is that I have so like with Facebook here for like the longer term, it should be pretty good. You can get some like cash, you could like get some cash secure puts going on right now on Facebook, or even some shares. And what I was going to say is, like, if you already have shares, you can go ahead and just sell some covered calls. And I think it could work out pretty well for you here with Facebook. Good morning, Vicky. How are you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day today. I wonder how ARKK is looking for us. Yeah, down 4%. Definitely not the best day for the growth stocks again. You know, Snapchat's definitely not helping anything out here as far as that goes, guys. But yeah, let me know what stocks you guys want to see. I appreciate everybody joining up today. If you guys have any specific plays or you want to talk about inflation or anything like that, just let me know. But I'm for a couple minutes, I'm just going to kind of get back into Snapchat's earnings here and just kind of go back down to the bottom here. I know we did a lot of stuff up at the top. Um, let's see, gonna kind of like read through here. They said that the app is facing rising inflation and interest rates, which is bad. They also are getting hit by supply chain shortages, labor disruptions, and platform policy changes, apparently. So they're saying that iPhone's privacy feature is actually affecting them as well, along with Facebook and a lot of other companies. Because I know Facebook and some other companies also had issues because of Apple's privacy feature change. So it's kind of interesting to see Snapchat now also falling off from the same exact type of news, but it's definitely good. But I will read this quote. He says, our most meaningful gains over the coming months will come as a result of improved productivity from our existing team members. So he's saying that pretty much he doesn't want to hire new people. He wants to, use the existing, I guess you could say, workers that they have and try to get things done that way. Because as we know, the cost of hiring and everything like that has been going through the roof. So yeah, it's definitely hurting some of these companies, guys. Snapchat, Facebook, they are really falling off. I Am Mike, though, says, check out NIO. All right, let's go see it. Oh, man, I was hoping to see this one in the green, Mike. This is not good. It's down to $14.85 here in pre-market, falling under $15 a share. That is definitely not good. I mean, that is some brutal selling pressure. I mean, that is, wow, it just continues to be bad for poor old NIO here. Like, you look at them on the daily, and they're still pretty close to lows. I mean, they're only a couple more red days away from retesting those lows around $12, depending on, obviously, how quick the movement is. But still, I mean, that is a brutal drop over the past couple years, just like we've seen with just about every single company. But yeah, it's brutal. But hey, I will say, we've been talking about a lot of selling pressure today. Let's talk about some good news, because, Zoom had some pretty good numbers on earnings yesterday, and they're not really holding up as well as I was hoping. I was hoping Zoom would maybe stay up above $100 or something like that, but it's actually looking pretty good here. So, give some W's in the chat for Zoom. I'll take it. It's a lot better than the way a lot of these other companies have been moving. That's for sure, especially with earnings. I'm always glad to see them go up. And the one thing I was really happy to see that I talked about a little bit in yesterday's stream was those customer numbers that attribute more than $100,000 is up over 46% year over year. And I love that number with their earnings with Zoom. Here, I'll actually scroll down here and find it right here. So they have 2,916 customers contributing more than $100,000 in trailing 12 months revenue. That's up 46% from the same last fiscal quarter. So that's amazing. They're growing those, I guess, bigger customers, you could say, which I think is great. Of course, that's always good when they're growing customers, but they're growing big customers that contribute more than $100,000, which is big. So that's a really big help. I think that's because a lot of bigger companies maybe and other people like that are coming in. And you can see that they had 198,900 enterprise customers, up 24% year over year. So they're really growing that, which is nice to see. They've also been sitting on some cash, of course. They had, their first quarter revenue was up 12% year over year. I believe it was actually record revenue. So hopefully that was the case. But yeah, Zoom had great earnings, and, they're continuing to hold up so far here around $92. Like, for example, they're not falling off towards yesterday's closing price or anything like that yet, but it's definitely been shaky. They haven't been just straight up or anything like that since earnings came out. I Am Mike, though, says Roku. Yeah, let's go see it. Good old Roku. Wow, Roku's down 13%. I wonder if this is kind of falling off with Snapchat and Facebook, or if it's just getting hit with selling pressure, or what's happening. But wow, Mike, that is a big drop out of Roku there, down to $79. Let's check out that daily chart. Yeah, even their daily chart is getting brutal. They're only like $4 away now from that all-time low of 75, or I should say the low of the past couple years, around 75. But yeah, that is a brutal drop, guys. I hope that Roku can start to come back for us, because that is not a good sign here. But if you guys are momentum traders, you guys could possibly catch some good momentum on this if it does continue to sell off. But just keep in mind, it's already down 13%. I have a feeling it might start to turn around intraday, at least a little bit at some point. So I'm not sure I'd short this one at this given area, but still. I will say though, guys, my watch list is significantly red today. We have a few stocks in the green. Like I said, Zoom's in the green. It looks like Beyond Meat is green. Oh wow, Beyond Meat had a big move at a market open, actually, or right before it. So that's insane to see how they popped up like that. JP Morgan is moving up with those banks again. Looks like banks are having a great past couple days. And I know that rising rates is supposed to be really helping them out right now. And JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon came out yesterday and had some awesome statements that, really made these stocks rise up. And Bank of America said that bank accounts are generally larger right now than they were before the pandemic. So seems like there was some pretty good data points coming out yesterday. And I was glad to see Jamie Dimon, becoming bullish on bank stocks, because man, it's been brutal the past couple months for banks. Like, look at these daily charts here. And actually, like, JP Morgan's breaking above a key trend line here on the daily, and it's starting to finally run up. So I'll take it. It's been a while since we broke this trend line here to the upside, and now that we finally did, we're having two awesome green candles extending up, and hopefully this nice momentum today continues up here for the next few minutes, because I mean, man, we're really breaking above 126 now. I wonder how high JP Morgan could possibly get to today. Excuse me, had to get a quick drink there. But overall, I mean, these stocks some of them are looking great, like I said with JP Morgan, but I will say most of them are falling off. We have like Adobe, for example, down 2.6%. We have Delta Airlines down 2.5%. Boeing's down. Good old Amazon down another 2.9%. And Amazon's going to have that split coming up soon, guys. Don't forget about that. Coming up on June 6th over the next couple weeks. So that's going to be kind of big. I feel like people are kind of forgetting about that as of now, because all these stocks are going down. But I will say, if Amazon splits and their stock is still this low, it's going to be very enticing to grab a lot of shares of that. So I don't know, but man, Amazon seems like a pretty decent pickup maybe before that split. Just keep in mind, obviously, there's a lot of risk that comes into these splits and everything like that. And whenever we go back in the past, Apple and Tesla, they started like running up heading into their splits, and then started actually selling off after the split for about a month, and then they recovered right back. But what I want to point out is that it had a lot of momentum heading up into that split, and then once the split happened, both stocks, Apple and Tesla, both fell down a little bit. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen with Amazon, because all stocks move differently, of course, and nothing seems like it ever plays out the same exact way as before. But just keep in mind that those stocks did take like a 5-day tumble after that split. So just always keep that in mind. Don't get too worried about it or anything. If, in my opinion, if you want to buy Amazon, it's definitely going to be a nice longer term play for you. And you shouldn't even be worried about it probably for the next 6 months if you do pick it up. But yeah, either way, I mean, they're going to have that split, and it's kind of down 3% today. Another brutal sell-off for good old Amazon here. I'm also noticing like PayPal is down deep in the red again. Tesla's deep. They're down 3.8%. It could have been worse, actually. They were a lot lower earlier. AMD is really falling off, actually, guys. AMD is looking like a pretty good move down, actually. I'm not going to lie here. It's falling off in a big way. We're sitting right around this support area from last week, or from yesterday, I should say, like right around $90.90 at the low of day there. If we start blasting below that, I feel like AMD could start selling off even more. Keep in mind, guys, AMD has been having a lot of problems pushing itself back above $100 a share, and we've just been constantly falling off to the downside with good old AMD. So definitely, I in my opinion, I think we should be bearish on AMD today, but we'll have to see how it ends up playing out. Like I said, lots of stocks are down today, so I am Mike though says we'll be watching for gap fills. Yeah, definitely. You know, if we see Roku and NIO or something like that, maybe start to pop back up and fill up some of these gaps, that could definitely make for some good trades there. So good call out, Mike. I think that could be a good way to play some of these big drops if you do see, you know, some of those good opportunities start to come into the market. But yeah, either way, it's definitely some pretty bad selling pressure today, guys. I've only been getting into some of these stocks that are only down like 3%, stocks like that. But you know, as I go further down my watch list here, I mean, now we're seeing Facebook down 9.6%. I mean, this is getting brutal, guys. Facebook, I thought, was finally forming maybe a nice support. Like we might finally start to move back to the upside here over the next maybe couple months or something like that. But now it just got hit even harder with Snapchat's earnings. And you know, I wasn't really expecting like Snapchat's earnings to overly affect these other tech stocks like Facebook or anything like that too much. I thought maybe it would affect Facebook and a couple stocks a little bit, but I really didn't think that we'd see a drop with Facebook down 9.6%. I mean, I know that these stocks are in the same sector, so of course it's going to have some sympathy movement, but I didn't think that we would end up tumbling down this much. That is a pretty bad drop today, guys, to say the least. And you know, like you guys have been mentioning, Shopify's down, Roku's down, even good old Roblox, guys, down 10.7%. Roblox is down to $26 a share again. Like, man, this poor company just continues to get destroyed. And it seems like these growth plays are having a lot of issues trying to come back here in the short term. I will say DraftKings so far today is actually holding up quite well compared to most growth plays. But what I will say about DraftKings is I don't like this setup, the way that it's coming up and retesting 1360 here. I think that's a pretty bad move to see. Like if we're looking here at DraftKings, you can see that their stock is having a lot of issues right there, right around like $13.50 or so. It definitely is having issues. So be a little wary of DraftKings today. I think it could, you know, maybe hit this resistance here and then continue to maybe fall off to the downside. I will say, guys, are you guys experiencing any lag here with the Discord or with your Thinkorswim or with any of your platforms? Because guys, I don't know, my Thinkorswim here is lagging so bad, it's like almost unusable right now, actually. So let me know in the comments if it's lagging for you guys, because man, for me it is getting brutal. But you know, as I always say, guys, you know, just let me know what stocks you want to see. I'll check them out. If you guys are interested in anything specific, definitely let me know, and we will get that up here to get some nice analysis on it. Because man, I want to start getting into some nice day trades and stuff like that, and I think it could be a really fun time if we, you know, maybe start looking at some more trades and different stuff like that during the live streams. I think that could definitely help. You know, obviously help the viewers, but you know, help people in general. You know, like if you're talking about stocks you're trading right now, it might give you some good ideas in your mind, you know, maybe some different strategies or a different like outlook on that stock than what you're thinking. So yeah, definitely let me know what you guys are looking for. I am Mike though says his Thinkorswim's been lagging for him this week. So yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully it gets better soon, because man, today mine has been brutal today. It usually doesn't lag like this, so I was kind of wondering if maybe it was my computer, but everything else was working fine. So I guess it was just Thinkorswim there momentarily. And I guess I'm going to say that with all the selling pressure, maybe expect some maybe issues with Thinkorswim over the next couple days, because I'm sure that their servers are probably getting a little bit overloaded right now, you know, with everybody coming in to sell their stocks or just to look, because all these stocks are down so much that I'm sure it's causing you know, some issues in the background there with their hardware. So we'll have to see. But yeah, Square today is down big, even, guys, down 7.9%. It's fallen off a cliff down to 79.80 or 76.86. Look at this, guys. Square is actually fallen below the key support level that it's been holding up at all week and even last week. You can see here there was a huge support right around 78.85 on Square. and we touched it perfectly. 1, 2, 3 touches, and then today we finally explode down below this on square. I don't know about you guys, but this could be a pretty good play if you continue to see momentum here, especially if you could have caught it when it first broke. Now we're kind of missing the move a little bit, but who knows? It could still continue down with some good momentum after consolidating this much. I could definitely still see like more downwards movement out of them for sure. Trying to find some interesting setups here today. Like, I know Nvidia and AMD were some of my favorite plays to the downside. I still think, guys, AMD could still be a really good play down. Ever since I mentioned it earlier for a possible momentum play, it's really continued. Like, it fell from 92 and continued all the way down to like at the low here of like $90.56. I will say, be really careful with this one now. It's had 2 big moves down, so I don't expect AMD to end up down like 8% or anything like that. Although it is possible, I just don't expect it. But yeah, let's see. I Am Mike though says, have you tried collecting garbage under the help tab? No, I haven't. I haven't actually. Is that something I can do? I've never done that actually. Let's see. I'm gonna try to do that right now. Let's see if I can. Is it under system? Oh, it is. It's under system. Let's see. That's very interesting. I never even looked at this. Let's see. Collect garbage. I clicked it, and the second I click it, I don't know. I hope it helps something. I was thinking it would do something, but I know it. What does it do? Does that like clear your cookies, or I guess it does something like that. It helps free up some memory. It looks like in the end, but I will say I have like my computer has like 64 gigabytes of RAM, so I don't think that the issue is going to be anything with needing any memory or anything, but who knows? Hopefully that helps. Thanks for the suggestion though, because man, I know that this it's been brutal, with the way Thinkorswim lags, especially on days where the market is really volatile. It seems like Thinkorswim is always lagging, just like non-stop. So yeah, thanks for that. Target here. Wow, guys, these retailers continue to fall off. Target ran down to $150 today. They actually hit $149.50 and then started coming back up here a little bit around market open. So yeah, huge drops with Target. That is brutal actually. That is a pretty big sell-off, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's definitely scary to see there. I hate to see that with Target again. I mean, poor Target and Walmart are just having some brutal past couple days. I will say Walmart's holding up a little bit better today than Target though, so that's always a good positive here. Let's see, any other big movers today in the market? I mean, nothing's too crazy, I will say. Mostly everything is to the downside. I already went over a lot of these plays. Unity just continues to get beaten down. I mean, this poor stock is like all these other growth plays, unfortunately. It's just continuing to sell off down here. Like, look at Unity. It's been pretty much like straight down. Like stocks like Zoom, for example, have been kind of consolidating. They've been moving flat. They haven't really been like breaking below key supports in major ways. It's just been kind of slow, steady sell-offs, whereas some of these other plays are just straight up selling down. It looks like Zoom has actually given back almost all of its gains now from earnings, which is unfortunate to see, but all these other stocks are down 8 to 10% today, and if Zoom wouldn't have had earnings, they probably would have gotten dragged down anywhere from 5 to 10% probably, given the way I'm seeing these other stocks fall down. So yeah, like even good old Square, for example, which is a pretty big stock, down 7% again. DoorDash is down like 7%. Yeah, AI even, NIO. So yeah, it's a brutal day, guys. Just the selling pressure is still coming in, and man, I was hoping maybe tech would start to recover up at market open or something like that, but it definitely isn't. It's continuing to sell off. I'm wondering how these yields are maybe moving here. It looks like the TNX is holding its ground, slightly down today, which is a little bit surprising. I was thinking maybe the TNX would be up. It looks like SPY is just consolidating down here. I will say if SPY ends up falling down, guys, and it breaks below 390, I think that'll be a pretty bearish sign today. I think you could see some pretty safe movement from 390, possibly down to like 385. I think you could see a pretty good like 5-point drop if this continues, especially with how a lot of these stocks are looking today, guys, because it is brutal today. stocks just keep selling off. And like I said, I think that SPY puts could be a really good way to play the market today, especially if you see some momentum come in. Try to ride that momentum really quickly. I think that could be a really good way to trade. But some of the value plays are starting to come up a little bit, like Coke is breaking back out, which is good. We do have like Pfizer, for example, moving back up into the green. JP Morgan is still holding up okay. It looks like AbbVie's up a little bit with some of these vaccine plays. I'm noticing that I guess all the value stocks are doing okay. Kraft is up a little bit. I should say. Man, Kraft had a bad tumble last week with Walmart and Target. That was brutal, but yeah, so a lot of these stocks are just barely up today, but overall, lots of downwards movement. So personally, I'd be expecting some more drops out of the SPY, especially with Apple down the way it is. I could see Apple falling off possibly down to like 138 today if this momentum keeps up. Looks like Microsoft here. Microsoft is just stagnant. They'll probably end up going down a little bit if the market keeps falling off. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But personally, I think the SPY looks pretty brutal right here. It looks like a bit of like a head and shoulders pattern. Here's a shoulder here, head right in the middle. I think it's looking like a pretty good play to the downside. Like there's a shoulder, and head. Oh, I should take this drawing off, actually, guys. That I'm gonna get blasted in the comments for that drawing I just made. Actually, I shouldn't have done that, but either way, guys, it's a head and shoulders here with the SPY. If you guys like those types of patterns, it definitely is looking like a pretty good play to the downside. I mean, I know we don't do any live trading here, but I'd be hard pressed to tell. I'd definitely be eyeing up some puts here, guys. Just so we know, that's how I'd be looking at the market today with all these stocks moving down. Keisha says PFE looks good for a breakout. Yeah, it does. It does. It's running up. It might break that high of yesterday around 53.70, and yeah, it definitely is primed for one, Keisha. I will say it's tough. The market is all over the place today. So like some stocks are down 10%, some stocks are up like 2 to 3%. So it's hard. It's very mixed. As long as we keep breaking out with momentum, though, it's definitely a pretty good play there. Sean says he's had error reports for the last week on Thinkorswim, and he can't get rid of them. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good, Sean. I hate to see that. Mike says, any thoughts on the Fed talking today? FB with the bear, ABC. Let's see, FB with the bear, ABC. I guess you mean ABC pattern, like ABC. I guess that is that what you mean there? I know sometimes you just didn't say pattern, so I'm a little bit lost. But I think that's what you mean. Those nice ABC styled of patterns you'll see every once in a while. Kind of looks like something like that. And overall, though, it's just brutal with poor Facebook here. I mean, it's probably gonna fall down and break below that low of 170 here. Hell, we're all the way down to 177 now. I mean, it's just continuing lower. Obviously, I don't think we'll get to 170 today, but man, it looks like over the next couple days we better put on our seatbelts. That's for sure. Mike says, can Costco save retail when they report earnings tonight? Ooh, I don't think so, Mike. I mean, it could help. It could definitely help. That's for sure. But just keep in mind, these other companies have been reporting some pretty bad stuff lately, and I don't expect Costco to just come in and say, hey, the supply chains got better over the past week. They're probably going to come in and have some pretty bad outlooks, kind of like Walmart and a lot of those other companies. And just keep in mind, guys, inflation is at a crazy, crazy pace right now. Like, inflation is up so much to the point that, it's getting scary. Like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, at some point, people are going to start really trying to save their money and stuff, and whenever that happens, these big box retailers and companies that are like Costco or like Walmart, or I don't know, I guess you could call them like wholesalers too, like they're gonna be in trouble. Like people are gonna quit spending money over the next few months, and it's gonna be a very brutal economy, I think, over the next few months, obviously, and it's gonna be a very tough time for these companies because people just aren't gonna be spending as much. We went through 2 years of the most of like the best spending we've ever seen. You know, people were spending like crazy. The government's giving people $1,400 checks every other month, and it was insane, guys. Like the way the market was moving up with all those easy policies, all of the stimulus checks, all of, like, for example, the government buying up securities and bonds and everything like that. It's just been making for some insane revelations in the stock market. And, you know, it caused a pretty crazy uptrend. But as we know, those corrections have to come back in. And, you know, they made it go up at too fast of a rate for too long. And now people are going to go through a bit of a downtime. You know, like we had 2 great years. Sure, you know, the pandemic might have affected some people, but for the most part, the pandemic, you know, obviously it may, you know, you might be working from home or something like that, but most people still, you know, have like the same type of job and things like that. Now I know other like smaller sectors like the fast food industry and, you know, restaurants and stuff like that were hit specifically hard, but most companies are doing okay, which is very interesting. Let's see. Sam says SQQQ going. SQQQ. Yeah, it really is actually. That's nice to see here. It's actually really popping up here with the SPY falling off. So yeah, you're right. I think SQQQ and SPXS could be 2 really good ways to go today, Sam. Thanks for calling that one out actually, because SPY is really falling off, and I think that could make for a pretty good day trade today, to the downside at least on SPY. But yeah, SQQQ is really ripping as SPY falls, so glad to see that. And like I said, I think SPY is in a bit of a inverse head and or not inverse, but head and shoulders pattern here. I think I can see like a bit of a head right here, and looks like they are falling off to the downside today. But yeah, let's see. Keisha says NEE also looks good. I'm glad I'm mentioning green stocks like you said. That's funny, Keisha. Yeah, I'm glad you found this one, Next Era. You know, we've been talking about this one a little bit over the past couple of years. It just hasn't been anything too crazy, but I like how NEE is bouncing off this $70 support. This actually looks like a pretty good little dip buy here, Keisha. I'll have to look more into NEE and do a little bit more of like an in-depth analysis on it. But so far today, I definitely like it. And sorry if you guys hear any power tools out in the background here today. My neighbor sounds like they're cutting down a tree or something. I mean, it sounds like a chainsaw is going on out there, and you know they live a couple like 100 yards away or something. But I'm sure I'm sure you guys don't hear it, but it's definitely loud in the background here. But Vicky says economists have started commenting that inflation will start easing from now on, and given macro data. Okay, so she's pretty much saying that economists have started saying that inflation can start easing now because of the macro data points that are starting to show that could happen. And that might be the case, Vicky. You know, I think inflation has been going up at a very rapid pace for the past, what is it, like 6 months now? I mean, it's been insane the way that, honestly, longer than that. It's been like almost a whole entire year at this point with everything like this. So as I'm kind of like looking at the market here, I'm looking at like NEE, obviously like SPY, you know, well, you know, I'll just go back to NEE, for example, on a max daily chart. You can just see how like ever since like last April to July, it's just been really shaky on almost every stock, whether it's Walmart, whether it's Facebook, Zoom, whatever it is, like somewhere like right around like July, you know, middle, like for example, May of last year, the market started getting super shaky as all that inflation came in. And, you know, the inflation did help the market for a little bit. Like if we go to SPY, you know, ever since like last May, the SPY was really popping up there with that inflation in the short term. Because, you know, as we know, inflation can drive stocks up. The main thing is that the inflation eventually caused a big reaction. You know, like obviously the Feds, they've been saying transitory ever since last May, and it's just been going up and up and up and up and up on the inflation, not just the market, but the inflation, of course, has been just going up and up. And yeah, I could definitely see that starting to show some slowdown with the inflation, Vicky. I will say though, I don't think that we're gonna see inflation start dropping yet. So here, let me actually get some inflation charts up here. So I'll do inflation charts on macrotrends.com. this one's pretty good, but just keep in mind, guys, that this doesn't show the current movement. Let me get a different one, actually. Let me find a different one really quick here. Hang on. I'll throw up the SPY here. And guys, look, I was saying the SPY, you know, I really like this pattern to the downside, guys. I'm telling you, I think this looks like a pretty good play. 390 might be a decent intraday support for SPY today, but man, this play to the downside is looking pretty good here. And that head and shoulders pattern so far is working out still spot on. So keep that in mind there. But here, let me find this this inflation rate here on, let's see, so this is going to be the core inflation rates. I don't want to see core. I'd rather just see the regular one. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like it could be easing for sure. Let's see. Yeah, so here's the chart for inflation right now, guys. You can see obviously how it's been really flying up. Of course, since like July or May of last year. It's been insane. Let's look at like maybe like a 5-year chart. Here we go. So you can see like how in 2020 we had a lot of, for example, the inflation started really falling off there whenever COVID happened. We almost went into deflation there for a little bit, which was very interesting. But you know, now we have inflation up around 8%, and it does look like, you know, if we look at like that 1-year chart, it is starting to slowly start to fall off a little bit. And with the Feds finally, you know, starting to raise rates at rapid paces and stuff, I think that that's definitely going to start to help a little bit. So we'll have to see what happens here. But the main thing is that just because the inflation starts to go down, that doesn't mean that the market is also going to go down. You know, like if inflation starts going down, the market could also fall during that time for sure. But, you know, I definitely hope that the inflation starts going back down personally. I hope it goes down, and I hope that it goes down maybe back to like, you know, 6, maybe 5% or something like that. I don't know how long that's going to take though. Just keep in mind, I'm throwing just out random numbers down there at like May or June of last year, because I feel like if we just go back down to like 6 or 5%, it would be more normal. You know, like if we're up at like 8%, it's getting a little bit crazy. She says, no wonder their inflation is people who bought cars paid 40 to 50% above sticker prices, and given there were supply disruptions, prices went up and people paid higher prices for things that they didn't need to. Yeah, I know, Vicky. They really did. They kind of screwed themselves actually, which is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, looking at the inflation here, guys, you can see the chart. It is starting to fall off a little bit. Just always keep in mind, you know, that we never know where it's going to go. Hopefully this next one comes in a little bit less. That would definitely be good, in my opinion, if we came in at like maybe 7.9% again or something like that. That would be awesome. But I'm just not too sure that we're gonna see that or not, because of course, you know, whenever you're trying to judge how these inflation numbers come out, just keep in mind, no one can sit there and like accurately predict how the inflation number is gonna come out. So, you know, I'm just giving out different hypotheticals. Like, for example, if we start falling back down with the inflation, that's definitely good news for the market. But just keep in mind, the Fed is now also doing a lot of stuff to combat inflation. Like they're selling out of bonds, securities, and the Feds are doing all types of stuff right now. They're raising rates. You know, there's a lot of different things weighing on the market. Some of it is because of the inflation. You know, like for example, once the inflation started getting high enough, the Fed started really reacting to it, which, you know, was expected. But the main thing is that, you know, if just because the inflation goes back down right now doesn't mean that the market is going to just start flying back up because of that. So just keep that in mind. You know, of course, it's going to take maybe, like, for example, I think the market will start to go back up once the Fed is done with their hawkish policies right now. Like, for example, once the Feds are done selling bonds, and once they're done selling securities and all that stuff, then I think that will be a little bit more normal of a market. We're still kind of in that COVID market, you know, like at least the market's still being affected from those moves. You know, like the Feds were buying up bonds and securities even, and all types of stuff to try to keep the markets afloat over those next couple of years. And it really did. It helped with that recovery and everything like that. But now the Feds are getting rid of those policies, and it's definitely causing some downwards movement here. But guys, I will say, ever since I said that the SPY was looking pretty good to the downside, we've been seeing some pretty big moves down here. SPY is now under 390, down to 389.20 down there at the low. And hey, we've been having some pretty good movement to the downside. So, hey, if you guys like that little trade there, hit that like button. Definitely help me out. Anytime we get likes, it always helps out with the stream and with everything like that. Like I said, if we start to get more likes and get more viewers and stuff like that, we'll always try to maybe do like some live trading, maybe try to get into doing some other stuff. Of course, there's always lots of different opportunities for the future. And if you guys are ever interested in seeing anything on the live stream, just let us know. Like if you guys want to see live trading, or if you want to see you want to see different, for example, different stuff, like you want to talk about some different data points, or you want to see different charts, or whatever it is, just let me know. Maybe crypto, anything, just let me know in the comments. We can try to get anything going, as long as it'll help you guys out and help us out. So yeah, definitely just let me know there. But that SPY is still going down, guys. 389 now, continuing to sell off. Where's my guy Sam here was saying SQQQ. Sam, that is so funny. I was just about to say, he was saying SQQQ was going earlier, and now you just said it again. That is so funny. I was just about to bring you back up, because I went to go look at it, and it was up 10%. I mean, that is nuts, Sam. So that is so funny. Right as I went to mention you, you came right back, and you beat me to it. But yeah, there we go. It's definitely flying up there, up 10%. Looks like SPXS is up like 5.9%. So yeah, these ETFs that are inverse to the market are really moving. So it's making for some pretty good trades today, I think. Like for example, if I wasn't on stream today, I probably would have been into some SPY puts for sure. It's been looking like a pretty good momentum play to the downside. I probably would have scalped them real quick, and I probably would have already been out, but still, just wanted to point that out there, because man, it's a pretty good setup here actually on the SPY. Like this is a really good head and shoulders pattern. I know not everybody likes head and shoulders, or they don't like patterns like this, like technical patterns, but sometimes they really do end up playing out well. And today it was definitely kind of showing the market turning over here in a bit of a big way. So yeah, definitely keep some of those patterns in mind sometimes, especially intraday. I've noticed it seems like they like to play out a little bit like intraday with movement. I will say sometimes with like daily charts and stuff like that, it seems like they don't really hold up quite as much, but sometimes we'll see some pretty good moves off the patterns. It's obviously not every day, but you can get some pretty good price action, especially out of ones like head and shoulders and stuff like this. Mike, I am Mike though, says we would love live trading. He says we would like to see how y'all pick your plays in the morning, possibly different strategies. So yeah, definitely, we'll have to look into doing that in the future for sure, Mike. I know that we're kind of like waiting a little bit. We'd like to try to get that going, with a little bit more people in here, but yeah, we'll definitely be getting that going eventually, Mike. It might be though a couple months, but we're definitely looking into that a little bit more. The main thing is we have to get it all set up right, where no account numbers are getting shown and everything like that, of course. And then whenever I say account numbers, so then people can't go like try to hack your account or whatever there is. So there's always lots of stuff to keep in mind, but we're definitely trying, Mike, and we'll be looking at that over the next couple months to maybe 6 months or so. There's definitely going to be a lot of stuff coming up, and like I said, if we get more people requesting it, then maybe we'll do it even sooner. So yeah, hopefully people like that idea there. But great idea, Mike. We'll definitely be looking into that eventually. But here's a good old VXX here, popping up 2.45% today. Actually moving up pretty good. Actually just had a nice candle to the upside there. It pretty much just had a pretty big jump from 2.4% up to 3.2 almost instantly there with that jump. So yeah, that was pretty cool to see actually with good old VXX there. But yeah, it's moving in a great way, and the way that these stocks are starting to pop up today, like these inverse plays, like Sam said, SQQQ and VXX and stocks like that are starting to pop up in a pretty good way again. SQQQ now is up 10.6%, and Sam, it just keeps going for us. It seems like it's really ripping up. That SPY just keeps selling off too, actually. It's down to 388.50 now. So that could have been amazing, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, this play was looking pretty bearish here for a while, and I was eyeing this baby up, and she's really starting to fall off now. So yeah, I don't know if you guys ended up getting in or not, but wow, I mean, some of those plays on SPY today could have been amazing. But give me 1 minute, guys. I'll be right back. Don't forget to hit that like button. I have those allergies again, so I'll be right back. But I'll be back within about a minute or so, and we'll check out that SPY. Hopefully, SPY's under 388 whenever I come back. That'd be pretty cool. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. I am back. I had to go blow my nose real quick. We have some bad allergies going on here, with all these all the weather changing and everything here. But look at that SPY. We are down below 388 now. I went to go blow my nose, came right back, and now we're at 387.60. That SPY just continues to fall off to the downside. So look at that. We're actually seeing some pretty great movement still to the downside off of this head and shoulders pattern. So it's looking pretty good. Like I said, always take these patterns with a grain of salt. They don't always, work out as well as it did today. But, hey, well, sometimes whenever you see them, you got to take advantage. And I feel like this is a pretty safe move. Keep in mind, 387.50 is a pretty big support. So I don't know about you guys, but personally, I would definitely be taking some profits right here if I was into the puts. Or even if I was an SQQQ or something, I would definitely take profits here. This is a pretty big level we bounced at on Friday. You can see we touched this intraday a little bit, and it held up. And then on last Thursday morning, it also held up as a bit of a support. So I'm going to look at 387.50 as a possible low right now. I think the SPY might be able to start to pop up a little bit off of this 387.50 area here, which, like I said, we've seen some price action around 387.50 over the past couple days. So I will say, like, for example, if I had like maybe 4 put contracts or something, I would probably take profits on like 2 of them here and maybe hold 2, or maybe take profits on 3 of them and then hold 1 maybe for the next like hour or so. It could be pretty good depending on how this market moves. But like I said, that's a pretty big support there. We definitely could break it, so don't think that like we're just going to start ripping back up out of nowhere. We could still break this support and keep flying down, but personally, like if I had some contracts, I would be letting some go here and then maybe hold a couple trying to target 385 if it can happen today. But keep in mind, I think it can, especially with the way the market's selling off. It's just, I would definitely start to take some profits here around 387.50, but so far we've seen some pretty big moves here in the market. Looks like market's continuing a little bit lower here. We're down to, looks like it just keeps ripping. I wonder how low we're gonna actually get today, because it's been brutal, as I've been telling you guys. Earlier whenever I called SPY out and I thought it would keep going down, my main reasoning in my head for playing SPY to the downside today, number one, is there's actually a few reasons, and they all were lining up great. So we had Apple selling off, and it was just looking brutal. You know, it wasn't looking like a bullish setup or anything like that. Nothing like yesterday. You know, yesterday was looking a lot better. Today, the price action heading into market open, in my opinion, was just looking terrible. You know, to me, price action is a big deal. Price action is what helps form a lot of these different setups and stuff like that too. You know, you'll see lots of different moves and patterns and everything like that. And like looking at Apple here, it definitely had that bad type of price action this morning. You know, like it sold off. It did move up a little bit in pre-market, but it ran right up to that 142 resistance. And you know, honestly, that's looking a little bit bearish in my eyes. That doesn't look too bullish there. Whereas yesterday, you know, we gapped up a little bit, we held our ground, and then at market open, we started ripping right back. So it was looking a lot different and a lot better yesterday. But one of the main reasons why I was playing SPY down is that, you know, we have Apple here. It was looking terrible, so I figured, you know, hey, a lot of these big tech stocks are selling off today, like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, different stocks like that are selling off. So with that being the case, I would think that SPY would start to fall anyways, but then we also saw the head and shoulders pattern going on, which was playing out perfectly. So overall, there was a lot of different factors pointing to the downside today. But yeah, these setups were looking great. And like I said, that SPY looks like 387.50 might be holding up right here as a bit of a support. Like I'd mentioned, guys, that is a little bit of like an area of contention. So like I said, if I had some contracts to the downside, I would definitely take profits right here on a couple of them, because I think that we could see a bit of an intraday move up. You know, I still think that we could break down like maybe like later on in the day or something like that. But, you know, you can definitely tell that over the past 30 minutes, we've had just straight downwards movement with these 5-minute candles. And now we're finally seeing a little bit of consolidation. So pretty interesting to look at that. QQQ is looking the same way as the SPY, just continuing to sell off today in a major way, which it's not looking good. But as we know, lots of stocks aren't either. Unity also just kept going down. It's now down 14%. That is nuts. I mean, it's given back all of those gains of last week. Roku is now at 15%. Asana all the way down to 12% now. I mean, let's look at Asana on this daily chart, guys. Like, look at the max daily. We are at $18.57. We're within $1 of the low here with Asana. So that is pretty insane to see, guys. Like, within $1 of the all-time low. That is nuts. So, yeah, hopefully Asana holds up a little bit. But, man, guys, this selling pressure is brutal. And I have a bad feeling that some of these growth plays might continue down here for the next couple days. Honestly, I'm a little bit worried that my baby DraftKings is going down. So, I'm going to have to... Oh, I'm praying. I haven't looked at it yet, guys. Here we go. DKNG. Oh, my gosh. Wow, it held up. DraftKings is holding up today pretty well. I better be quiet, because next thing I know, it's going to be down 10%. But so far today, hey, I will definitely take this great movement. Give me some W's in the comment here for DraftKings, guys. I mean, wow. I mean, this is really moving well for DraftKings. I mean, especially on a day where the market's red by so much, DraftKings is only down 1.5%. You can see with the price action here, like in just 5 minutes, they could be back up to even if they run up to 14. So, wow, it's insane here with good old DraftKings, but it's holding up so well compared to these other growth plays. Like, this is giving me a lot of confidence, guys. Like, I don't know about you guys, but wow. I mean, on a day where comparables like Chewy and Square and stocks like that are down like 7 to 10%, DraftKings is almost even. So, yeah, I will definitely take that, guys. I mean, wow, that's amazing. Like I said, throw me some W's in the chat for good old DraftKings here, because that is some amazing movement here today in the short term. I mean, that is looking great. Love to see that movement, actually. That's awesome. Hopefully Zoom's holding up. Look at this, guys. Zoom had this great move with earnings last night. They ran all the way up to 107.99. Now they're almost down as much as DraftKings today, and DraftKings is going to come up and maybe even move higher than Zoom was. So that's insane. Hopefully hopefully both stocks recover. Honestly, I love both of them, but yeah, this is amazing price action today out of DraftKings. I can't believe it's holding up. It could definitely continue down throughout the day today, but I mean, for it to be holding up this much right now is just amazing. Like my whole watch list, even like Facebook is down like 10%. I mean, I know they had that bad news with Snapchat, but still, I mean, it's pretty telling there. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to 9:30 though, guys. Probably gonna wrap up the stream here eventually, but another suggestion I had, if you guys are ever interested, we could start streaming a little bit longer too. Like I don't know if you guys are ever interested in that, but we could keep the stream on for a little bit longer, maybe like an extra hour or something like that, or like I talked about in the past, we could maybe start to do some stuff and maybe have a stream like whenever Powell's talking and different things like that. It might make for some pretty good price action, or for some good streams there in the middle of the day. Like for example, Powell's going to be giving a speech, or I should say he's going to be giving welcoming remarks via a pre-recorded video at the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. This is going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada, but nonetheless, he's going to be giving welcoming remarks via a pre-recorded video. Personally, guys, I would say don't expect anything too crazy with this. I don't think that anything too crazy is going to happen. Keep in mind, it's a pre-recorded video, so he's not going to be talking live or anything like that, or taking any questions. It's just going to be more of like the welcoming remarks for this. So hopefully he doesn't crash the market or anything like that. Who knows? Maybe what he says will help the market go up. But nonetheless, be ready for that at 12:20 p.m. Eastern Time today. That might be a pretty big event coming up there. So always keep that in mind. Of course, Big Daddy Powell he seems like he's always like the center of attention. So, Big Daddy speaking later. So keep that in mind. And then we do also have these economic data points coming out later this week as well. So on Thursday, we're going to have that GDP growth rate come out. That's going to be huge for us, guys. Obviously, the GDP has been very important lately with the Feds and Powell and everybody like that. So hopefully those numbers come in, right around expectations, or hopefully they do better than the expectations, because, as we know, I don't know if the market could take any more downwards movement at this point. It's been brutal, but yeah, I did want to talk about that. We are going to have some more earnings tonight in after hours, but it looks like we're not going to have anything crazy here. Maybe Nordstrom here in after hours. I know Peter was saying yesterday he had a position on Nordstrom, which was JWN. Looks like it's starting to sell back down here, Peter. So, Peter, if you're in the live stream here, your JWN position seems like it's doing pretty well. And it looks like there is a bit of support around $20 here, but, it is coming up pretty well intraday, I will say. It's definitely not bad. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys joining up the live stream today. Lots of great conversations here. Thank you, Vicky, Keisha, Sam. I am Mike Doe. Mike, I love that name. I am Mike Doe. That's a really funny name. Sean, Vicky, of course, Hunter, Jamie. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining up. I appreciate it. Of course, we're here live every single day. So if you guys have any friends or anything like that who trade the stock market, let them know, because we might be able to get some more conversations going in here. Maybe start to eye up some more trades and stuff like that. I think it could definitely be fun. The more plays and the more ideas and stuff like that getting thrown out, the more fun content that there is to come. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Looks like the SPY is holding up at that 387.50 support I mentioned, guys. So at least for the past few minutes, it's definitely been consolidating there a little bit. Like I said, I would recommend selling some contracts here if you guys were playing puts to the downside. But either way, so far the market's been brutal, but hopefully we start to recover back. I think it could be possible over the next few weeks or few days, but it's going to take some good price action. And whenever you see stocks like Snapchat down 30%, it definitely doesn't help things. And Apple's falling off, Microsoft's falling off. So yeah, we're just seeing a big move down out of a lot of big stocks, and it's just going to keep dragging us down. So yeah, I don't want to be too negative about the market here though, because I will say, guys, like it's creating some great longer term opportunities. So, for the long term, you'll be able to pick up some nice shares, and you'll be able to maybe have some nice trades over the next 6 months to a year. So keep that in mind. Lots of opportunities are out there right now, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and good luck. Hopefully, you guys bring in those profits. Yo.